Welcome back to A People's Guide to Publishing. I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing and Distribution. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 25 years.
I'm Ellie Blue. I'm the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm. We are an independent mid-list publisher based in Portland, Oregon. We have 14 employees, over 650 titles in print with 20 to 40 new books per year, and we distribute thousands of titles from other publishers.
We started this podcast so that we can share what we've learned with newer publishers so that you can learn from our mistakes.
Or maybe you just want to understand the publishing industry.
Today, we are going to talk about the news. And the news this week is, the Houghton Mifflin merger by HarperCollins Publishing Group.
This is pretty new news. So Houghton Mifflin, they're a big independent, right?
I think you mean Houghton Mifflin.
Oh, is it supposed to be pronounced with a fake British accent?
Not supposed to, required.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can...
I just think
we
of
try
Dunder
to pronounce
Mifflin
things
every time.
Correct. Who?
Dunder Mifflin.
Oh.
Sorry, Houghton Mifflin. You are a better quality paper company.
Let us hope. And yeah. So they were a big independent. They net about $1 billion per year.
Wow.
In book sales. So they ostensibly would be a Big Five house other than the primary aspects of their publishing, which are remaining independent, are their academic, post-secondary, basically like their educational publishing component. They're just selling their trade division, which for newer viewers, a trade division is books that you develop for the purpose of selling them in bookstores, which is like what Microcosm does, what most publishers you've heard of, whereas a similar publisher would be like Thompson Course Technologies. They make textbooks. They're not making books for, and their books may end up in bookstores, but by and large, they're going to be sold in educational markets.
Got it. So why did this giant independent publisher sell their trade division?
This is a very good question, and it really comes down to strategy, and we can only speculate here on A People's Guide to Publishing. Whereas their trade division was their only profitable division last year, so you would think that this would be the part they would want, but Houghton Mifflin thinks of themselves more as an educational publisher than they do as a trade publisher. The trade publisher was sort of like this arm, and this started to grow and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually they were like, this is so much responsibility. We are really competent at focusing on our educational division, and now we have this other big responsibility. And, how many books can you name from the Houghton Mifflin trade division?
Well, there's Nicole George's graphic novel memoirs.
Mm-hmm. But how many, Houghton Mifflin is 200 years old. That book came out in the last 10 years.
They probably did like an edition of Moby Dick back there or something. I don't know.
So George Orwell is probably the household name that you would know from them way back. And they still have rights to some of his books. Actually, I'd say the majority of his books came out, that they are not yet in the public domain. And then the other one that really was a more recent... the reason they signed Nicole George is because of Alison Bechdel.
Right, and so they were her publisher also?
They are.
They are her publisher? Well,
no,
HarperCollins is.
Yes.
Sorry, Allison. Sorry, Nicole.
Sorry, Ghost of George Orwell. This is, I think, most punishing for you.
I know. You would have something to say about it.
And, and so that is sort of the thing here, where last year was a really brutal year for educational publishing because libraries were closed. Colleges were probably buying online, so probably ebooks, probably bootlegged ebooks really cuts into those sales. And so, they just had a hard year of it in one way or another. And so HarperCollins, this was in light of the news of the Penguin Random House attempt to purchase Simon & Schuster, which will probably not happen for some time. If it does happen, it's not a done deal yet. The federal government has to approve things like that. But, in light of that, HarperCollins felt they needed to get up their backlist muster, which, to be fair, the backlist of Houghton Mifflin trade is only 7,000. That's pretty small for a 200-year-old publisher.
But the ones they kept in print probably really pack a punch.
Yeah. And so, bear in mind, we are 25 years old and we have 650 titles. They are 8 times our age and have, I guess 8 times as many, or I'm sorry, a little more than 10 times as many titles. So maybe that is about right.
I guess we'll know in another 175 years.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. You saw it here first, folks. Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
on Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub,
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.